So hi, my name is Joel. I'm the chief scientist at Volumetrics, and I have a 2-year-old daughter. And like most of you, she really likes fire trucks. And one day she asked me, "Daddy, what are fire trucks' lives like?" And I'm a pretty good dad, so I took her down to the fire station so we could ask them. Of course, they didn't say anything. So she said, "Dad, you're a data guy. Can you do anything with data to find out what fire trucks' lives are like?" I thought, maybe I can. So I found this website. It's called Seattle RealTime 911, and it's like a Foursquare for fire trucks. You can see a date, a time, the usernames of the fire trucks who checked in, where they checked in, what kind of event they were checking in into. And I went and I found all this data, and I scraped about 9 years worth of it, which was more than 1 million different check-ins for these fire trucks. And then I geocoded them, and then I started crunching some numbers for them. And what I found was that first, in Seattle, there's basically 5 main kinds of fire trucks. So first you have your engines, which are your canonical big red trucks with hoses. You have medic and aid units, which are kind of the same thing, but don't tell them I said that. You have ladder trucks, which you use to rescue cats out of trees. And you have battalion chiefs who go around and tell the other fire trucks what to do. And so first we said, where do fire trucks hang out? Well, the top places they checked into are the jail, the mission, the homeless shelter, old folks' homes. And I thought, that's kind of strange. Why would there be so many fires at those places? So then I dug a little bit deeper, and what I found was that most of those check-ins were not fires, they were medical incidents. Usually when you see a fire truck going somewhere, it's an aid response, or a medic response, or an aid response yellow, or a medic response 7. So then I said, okay, when are they doing these things? So I looked at the check-ins by hour of the day. And what I found was that fire trucks really love the nightlife. They check in late at night and into the wee hours in the morning. But in the middle of the day, they kind of take it easy and maybe are resting or napping. I also decided to look at when are they checking in throughout the year. Does that vary at all? And what I found was that they really like New Year's Day, they really like the summer, and especially the 5th of July. They're not so big on the winter, and especially not Draw a Bird Day, which is April 8th. And then around Christmas, they kind of take it easy too. So then I went and checked out my geocoding. On the left, you can see 1 dot at each of the check-ins. And if you know Seattle, that's basically a map of the city of Seattle, just with big blank spots at lakes and parks and places firefighters are afraid to go. So that makes me think that it worked pretty well. Now here on the left you can see all the auto accident check-ins, which is like a map of the major streets of Seattle. And in the middle you can see the assault check-ins, which is like a map of all my favorite bars. And on the right you can see the fire check-ins, which is a map of the houses of people who didn't laugh at my jokes. So these seem to be working out pretty well too. I also found that almost 2/3 of the time you'd have a check-in with just 1 truck. So possibly this was to get some kind of discount or maybe to become mayor of one of these venues. But what this allowed us to do is figure out where does each truck really like to hang out by itself. And so these are plotted on the left. On the right, I connected 2 engines whenever they had at least 100 check-ins together. And I played with it in Gephi until I made it match up pretty much exactly. And you can see it matches up pretty much exactly, which means something. Haven't figured that out yet. So then I wanted to understand their interaction. So I looked at dates, which were check-ins with exactly 2 fire trucks, and parties, which were check-ins with 5 or more fire trucks, to understand how these dynamics went on. And so first I looked at the dates, and what I found, really interestingly, was that there was this giant love pentagon between 3 aid units and 2 medic units. That went on tons of dates with each other. And then you also had, if you look down at the bottom, you can see lots of engines fighting over the scarce attention of the medic units. And finally, you can't see it because it's too small, but the battalion chiefs were like no dates at all. But here, if you look at parties, it's the opposite story. The battalion chiefs are like huge and central, and so is this M44 medic supervisor who wasn't even on the dates thing. And the larger type here is the more popular trucks, which I measure with something I like to call truck rank, which determines popularity based on who you're connected to. Technically, it's the same thing as eigenvector centrality, but it's easier for a 2-year-old to say, so we call it truck rank. And I looked at how this varied with the average size of a check-in. Up in the top right, I've just circled all those battalion chiefs who had really high rank, and it looks like whenever they check in, there's about 10 other trucks there. So they're only going to parties, they're not going to dates at all, which is pretty much what we found. And that's kind of where we left the analysis. But there's some future questions to think about, like how will this change over time? Why can I not find any cats stuck in tree incidents in the data? And then maybe look at other secrets like police cars, garbage trucks, and stuffed hippos, which is what my daughter wanted me to do. There's more info on my blog if you're curious. I also put my code on GitHub. I sort of Dave asked nicely. I'll be here for the rest of Strata, so come say hi and check out my company Volumetrics. We do kind of similar stuff, but for companies, not fire trucks.